freezing rain headed our way.
We're really making sure we have our equipment ready. We've got enough salt ready to go for the potential freezing rain.
Environment Canada forecasting significant freezing rain starting in the early morning hours, with the potential for up to 20 millimeters of ice buildup throughout the day. And already closures and cancellations coming in. Walking out of class in protest.
If people cannot follow their dreams and go to school to fill these professions, how are we going to fix this?
Some East End High School students upset with changes to OSAP, saying it will force them to take on more debt in their university years. And his trip to Egypt was canceled because of an American travel advisory.
Since they took it upon themselves to cancel the tour for not any valid reason, they should be at least exploring a refund.
A Canadian traveler frustrated with a fight for a refund made even more difficult because he did not pay with credit. Well, this is what Ottawa residents could be waking up to tomorrow morning, with forecasters warning of a possible ice storm that could be as devastating as the deadly one of April 2023. Good evening. The region is bracing for a major freezing rain event that is expected to hit Ottawa, Eastern Ontario, and parts of Quebec in the coming hours. Environment Canada is calling for a prolonged period of freezing rain, up to 24 hours, and say the impact may be significant. Tonight, the city and Hydro Ottawa are preparing for dangerous driving conditions, power outages, and downed trees. We are tracking the storm, which is set to arrive in Ottawa around 7 a.m. That likely means black ice during tomorrow morning's commute. There are weather alerts in place across Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. CTV's Dave Charbonneau has more on the preparations.
Certified arborist Ian Lawford knows what a significant ice storm can do to Ottawa trees.
We saw a lot of white pine trees failing after the derecho and after the last ice storm.
And another one is on the way. The forecast for Ottawa calls for a prolonged period of freezing rain starting overnight, which could lead to treacherous driving conditions, power outages, and fallen trees.
The main thing that puts trees at risk of failure is, number one, the species, and two, the canopy spread.
Environment Canada is warning the freezing rain could last up to 24 hours in some areas.
In general, we're looking at around 10 to 20 millimeters possibly of accretion, which is quite similar to what occurred back in 2023 in April. So that's what we're looking at for the Ottawa area as well as the Montreal area.
And that damage in April 2023 was devastating in Ontario and Quebec. Power lines knocked out for millions of properties. There were also fatalities caused by the storm. And that much ice buildup could cause large branches to snap and bring down power lines.
I suspect what you'll see mainly after the ice storm, if there is a significant amount of accretion, is some of the larger limbs on white pines will kind of self-prune.
Hydro Ottawa says it's on high alert, writing in a statement, "While crews are prepared to face the elements, the public's patience is requested as icy road conditions may impact travel times for restoration teams. If outages occur, crews will work diligently to restore power as quickly and safely as possible." The City of Ottawa is also preparing for the impact on roads.
We're just watching the track of the storm. We know it's going to be tomorrow morning, so we're really making sure we have our equipment ready. We've got enough salt ready to go for the potential freezing rain.
Hydro Ottawa advises residents to stock a 72-hour emergency kit with flashlights, batteries, water, food, and medication. And if you spot a downed power line, stay at least 10 meters away. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Well, here's a live look now through our Centennial Glass sky cam. 6 degrees out there in Ottawa this evening. It was a beautiful day today, but tomorrow, well, it is perhaps not as delightful. Prepare for the worst and hope it's a little better than what we are actually seeing on some of these models, Jackie.
Yes, Patricia, that's exactly what we're doing. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And getting a closer look at what we can see tomorrow, we could see a risk of freezing drizzle, especially if you are out before 7 a.m. It really isn't until the 7 o'clock hour that we're going to start to see the freezing rain. You can see all this pink here. This is indicating the freezing rain that will move steadily throughout the region, really for all of our Wednesday. You'll notice, though, around the Kingston-Brockville area as temperatures start to climb closer to the anticipated 7-8 degrees degrees that the Seaway is going to get, you'll see more rainfall moving in. So Kingston, Brockville, the Seaway area will see significant rainfall here along the valley as well as Ottawa. More freezing rain. It isn't until the late afternoon that we will likely see this transition off into the rain, but that evening commute will likely be messy. It will be slick, so we are paying a very close attention to this. Again, it has prompted a freezing rain warning, 10 to 20 millimeters for the entire day of Wednesday for the most of eastern Ontario. The rainfall warning in effect for the Kingston, Brockville area. Overnight temperatures, we are getting much cooler than what we have seen the last few days, -2 the overnight conditions, and you'll also notice the wind picking up. So yes, we are getting to a daytime high of around the freezing mark, but when you combine those wind gusts, it's going to feel closer to about -6, -7. We'll have a closer look at your long-term forecast in just a bit. Patricia.
Well, high school students in Ottawa are protesting the province's changes to OSAP. Dozens of students walked out of class today, hoping to send a message to Queen's Park that fewer grants and more loans will leave them graduating college or university with far more debt. CTV's Caitlin Wilson joins us live now with more on this. Caitlin.
Yeah, Patricia, there was a lot of concern and frustration from students today on top of the province lifting a 7-year tuition freeze. They say they're worried about taking on even more debt.
Holding signs and chanting, high school students walking out of class at École Secondaire Beatrice des Langes Tuesday, raising concerns about the cost of their future education.
I feel like I have less of a chance, and my generation, my people here with me, we have less of a chance.
Dozens joining students from nearby schools protesting the Ford government's proposed changes to Ontario's Student Assistance Program, or OSAP.
Some students have already accepted their offers. Some students are going away for school and they thought they had support, but now you're just you're pulling the carpet under their feet.
Under the current system, students can receive up to 85% of their funding through grants and the other 15% through loans. But under the proposed changes, only 25% would come through grants, while the rest would be repayable loans.
Hands off OSAP! Hands off.
For students like Ariel Mwanga, who hopes to become a neurosurgeon, the thought of graduating with heavy debt is concerning.
My family, we don't live here, we don't come from here, so we're not that well off. So the OSAP grants really help us fund our education and stuff, you know?
In a statement, the province says the changes are necessary to restore sustainability to OSAP and ensure its availability for future generations. The province says the program cost $2.7 billion this year and could reach more than $4 billion by 2029. But critics warn the changes send the wrong message.
Highly skilled, highly trained, healthy people are the most valuable thing in the global economy. So instead of making it harder for people, the government should be making it easier for people to get the skills and knowledge that they require to be contributors.
For students at this rally, they hope their message reaches Queen's Park and the province reconsiders.
I'm really worried about not only me, but a lot of people having to pay out these loans for, 10s and 20 years. That's not something that everybody should have to stress about.
And students say they plan to keep speaking out with more rallies planned in the coming days and weeks. Patricia?
CTV's Caitlin Wilson live for us tonight. Thank you. Well, a protest was also held at Algonquin College today over the recent program cuts. Faculty members are demanding more transparency about the college's decision to suspend another 30 programs. They're calling on the administration to provide written documentation to back up major academic decisions.
Please show us the information that was used, the financial data, the student enrollments, the external and internal trends that we've been mapping. Show us that data. What information was used? What process was used to come to these decisions?
Algonquin says the cuts are necessary to ensure long-term stability at the college as it continues to deal with a financial crisis.
Still ahead, uncertainty for students at Ottawa's adult high school. The worry that changes to how courses are delivered could be on the way. That story coming up.
Well, there is increased presence around at least one embassy in Ottawa tonight after a shooting at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto, which investigators are calling a national security incident. CTV's Stefan Keys is in studio with the latest. Steph.
Patricia, investigators say they are looking at any possible terrorism links as they continue to look for two suspects following this morning's shooting. But they're also not quick to put it in that category of terrorism either. Gunshots rang out around 4:30 this morning. Police say 2 people got out of a vehicle, fired what appeared to be a handgun before fleeing the scene. Luckily, no one was injured. Premier Doug Ford is condemning the shooting, calling it, quote, an unacceptable act of violence and intimidation aimed at our American friends and neighbors. He says he has assured the U.S. Consulates General that municipal, provincial, and federal police will work to find the suspects.
It's unacceptable that we're seeing this in the greatest city, the greatest province, greatest country in the entire world, but we will not spare a penny to make sure we hold these people accountable, and we're going to go full steam at this.
The Prime Minister also spoke to reporters on the Hill, promising justice. The OPP and RCMP are all involved in the investigation along with Toronto police. This comes after shots were fired at 3 synagogues in the Greater Toronto area over the weekend. RCMP say they have increased police presence at some other embassies.
Other consulates as well, including the Israeli consulate, will be seeing a change in the security posture here in Toronto, as well as Ottawa.
While our camera crews were out here in the capital today, we didn't see any cruisers outside the buildings that house the Israeli or U.S. embassies, but also means they may mean they have stepped up patrols in that area. Police have released this image of the suspect vehicle in the hopes that someone will be able to identify it. It's a white Honda CR-V that was just on your screens. Again, police are looking into a motive, but all this violence comes during the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Patricia.
CTV's Stefan Keys live for us tonight. Thank you. Meantime, questions continue to mount about when the war in Iran could end. There are conflicting messages coming out of Washington, and airstrikes continue despite the U.S. president saying the fighting could end, quote, very soon. CTV's Joy Melvin has the latest.
The Pentagon with new video bombing Iran's missile launchers and destroying their ammunition stockpiles. A fresh round of attacks. The U.S. says it has hit more than 5,000 targets, including 50 vessels.
Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Iran is badly losing and there will be no let-up. This as the Trump administration is sending mixed messages when the conflict will end. The president suggested the war's goals were pretty much complete, telling Republicans,
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right?
Trading threats on social media, Trump told Fox News he's not happy with Iran's new supreme leader, a hardline cleric and son of the assassinated Ayatollah Khamenei, saying, I don't believe he can live in peace. Iran's security chief shot back, warning the U.S. president, be careful not to get eliminated yourself. This after Trump threatened to rain fire and fury on Iran, warning the regime against stopping the world's flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, now at a standstill and sending gas prices soaring. But the White House insists that won't last long.
U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the president's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. I will not broadcast what those options look like, but just know the president is not afraid to use them.
So when will it all end? The White House and Secretary of War both say that's up to President Trump to determine when Iran is no longer a direct threat to America. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the war in Iran. We'll have updates on radio, on News Talk 580 CFRA and CTV News channel at any hour. Well, an Ottawa man says he is out about $7,500 after the conflict in the Middle East led to a Canadian tour company canceling his trip to Egypt just days before his departure. CTV's Tyler Fleming joins us with those details. Tyler.
Patricia, after the war broke out in the Middle East, Frank Menezes became caught between 2 cancellation policies. One for the tour company Adventures Abroad, the other his insurance, and neither wanted to provide a refund.
Tours have been going ahead.
Frank Menezes was excited for his upcoming bucket list trip of a lifetime.
I was going to Egypt because I love history.
A $7,500 tour he booked through Canadian company Adventures Abroad, a business he trusted and had used before.
The tour includes 14 days of breakfasts and dinners, paid or included in the price of the tour, and fully guided day trips.
But just days before departure, Adventures Abroad canceled the trip because of safety concerns, citing the war in the Middle East along with an updated do not travel advisory from the United States.
There's no war in Egypt. There's no civil unrest in Egypt. As soon as I found the trip was canceled, I asked for my refunded credits.
But according to the policy on their website, the company does not have to provide a refund and instead says customers should go through travel insurance.
If something is not feasible...
Menezes thought he'd be fine. He had purchased trip insurance, but because Canada did not change its travel advisory, his claim was denied.
If a tour company is canceling the trip on their own accord for obvious reasons, they have got to give either a credit or refund back to the client.
But there was another issue.
Adventures Abroad offered $200 a discount if I paid through e-transfer, so I did it.
Had he put it on a Visa card or something like that, he could have disputed it and would have had money coming back that way.
I would like people to be fair.
Menezes says after emailing the Vancouver-based tour provider, they said they may be able to provide partial credit to future trips.
They're dancing around the subject.
But when contacted by CTV News Ottawa, Adventures Abroad said, while it stands by its decision to cancel, Menezes will receive a full credit toward another trip.
There's one spot left for October 4th, so I'm going to take it. Thank you very much, CTV and Tyler. I can now pursue my historical quest or whatever of Egypt.
Travel experts say fine print matters, so be sure to research and read cancellation policies, ask questions, and always avoid e-transfers as a method of payment, because once that money is sent, it can be nearly impossible to get back. Patricia.
An excellent ending in this case, but we don't want to have to call you each time, Tyler, so thank you for this. CTV's Tyler Fleming live for us tonight. And the conflict in the Middle East continues to cause volatility in the global energy market and impact gas prices. Many stations across the city saw prices hovering around $1.54 a litre today. Canadians for Affordable Energy President Dan McTeague says gas prices are expected to rise by another cent tomorrow, but he says prices will drop on Thursday by about 8 cents a litre for regular gas, 12 cents for diesel. And do stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the war in Iran. Again, updates on radio. Tune into News Talk 580 CFRA. CTV News Channel has your updates at any hour. The federal and provincial governments are investing more than $228 million over the next 3 years to expand training and support for workers affected by the Canada-U.S. trade war. The money is coming from the federal government, going toward what's being called the Canada-Ontario Workforce Tariff Response. Officials say this will help up to 27,000 workers across the province learn new skills to get back to work in key sectors of the economy. The new funding will focus on workers in the steel and softwood lumber sectors, as well as automotive manufacturing.
The supports include suggestions, connections, training options, and assistance for applying in EI. As of January this year, Ontario's unemployment rate stood at 7.3%, and this is a red flag. This means that tariffs actually have caused labor market challenges.
As part of the plan, the province will deliver programs through the Skills Advance Ontario initiative. Officials say some of the high-growth sectors workers will be retrained for include healthcare, skilled trades, energy, and natural resources. An elderly woman is in hospital with life-threatening injuries after she was struck by a vehicle in a parking lot yesterday. This happened at the South Keys Shopping Centre around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Paramedics say the victim is a woman in her 80s. She was brought to the trauma centre in critical condition. Police are investigating and are asking anyone with information or with dash cam footage to contact investigators. Ottawa firefighters helped extricate a driver and a dog from a vehicle that rolled over near the Central Experimental Farm last night. The vehicle had rolled onto its side at the intersection of Tunis Avenue and the NCC pathway around 8:45 p.m. Firefighters stabilized the vehicle and managed to get the driver and dog out through the sunroof. The driver was treated on scene for minor injuries. A firefighter, who is also a trained veterinarian, determined the dog was not injured.
They don't clearly outline what next year is going to look like.
Well, just ahead, students at the adult high school in Ottawa voicing concerns as the school board plans to change how the curriculum will be delivered. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Patricia. We do have significant freezing rain moving through the region. And what does that look like exactly? Well, we talk about ice accretion or buildup. If it's less than 5 millimeters, we're anticipating slippery conditions on the surfaces. It's between 5 to 10 millimeters. This could lead to hazardous travels, slippery roads and sidewalks, some broken branches. But again, we are flagging 10 to 20 millimeters anticipated. And what this could mean is not just hazardous travel. It could lead to widespread power outages, which is likely, and significant tree damage. We'll have a closer look at your long-term forecast in just a bit. But for now, no rain in sight, no freezing rain in sight either, but it is cloudy. The wind's also starting to pick up. Current temperature is 6 degrees.
Ottawa's favorite cash contest is back, and it's big. Move 100's $50,000 Beat the Bank. 7 vaults. You decide how much to take home. Sound the alarm, you lose it all. Be listening weekdays for your chance to win.
Today's Snow Report is brought to you by Camp Fortune. Let us teach you to love winter.
And here's how it was looking at Camp Fortune today. That good solid base, 5 lifts open, and most of the runs as well. Should tell you that tomorrow Camp Fortune will be closed because of the weather, and you want to check before you head out skiing anywhere in our region tomorrow because a lot of hills will be closed. Edelweiss was today as well to help preserve conditions. Mont Cascade, 3 of 6 lifts and 11 runs open. All 3 lifts at Calabogie Peaks and 19 runs. Borlage was also closed today.
Erin here from Camp Fortune with your insider tip. Weekday skiing is great skiing, and at only 15 minutes from downtown, we're even close enough for a long lunch. See you on the slopes.
Well, the calm before the ice storm today. A mild and sunny Tuesday in the capital for the most part. Some residents out enjoying the view over Hogsback Falls, where much of the ice has melted. But things could certainly be icy tomorrow with all of the freezing rain in the forecast as we are up and down and all over the place in this March forecast. But this is the really concerning part tomorrow, just how bad will it be and where. And it all hinges on just when it starts and what the temperature is when that happens, right?
I was going to say, it really all hinges on whether or not how warm we get or how the wind shifts, and that 1 degree can make a difference between the freezing rain and the rain. And that is what we are keeping a very close eye on. So we are seeing our satellite right now. You can see the weather activity moving in from the west and the south. We could see, as temperatures start to drop below the freezing mark later this evening, a risk of freezing drizzle, but the chunk of the storm and the freezing rain will likely come early tomorrow, Wednesday morning. And this is really around the 7 o'clock hour. So for a lot of people making their way to work or to commuting to school or out on the roads, this could affect your travel. A reminder that a freezing rain warning is in effect for most of eastern Ontario as well as western Quebec. 10 to 20 millimeters all day anticipated. A rainfall warning, though, for closer to the seaway where temperatures are getting closer to about 8-9 degrees. So 20 to 40 millimeter rainfall is anticipated, potentially isolated showers as well. This is a closer breakdown of what we can anticipate for the most part Wednesday afternoon. That will transition from freezing rain into rain as temperatures start to climb back up again. So the rainfall really steadily moving through most of our Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. So it will be a wet, icy, and slippery day for our Wednesday. Temperature-wise, as mentioned, we are hovering around the freezing mark for most of our Wednesday, 7 a.m. Again, we are anticipating -2, freezing rain kicking off. You'll also notice the wind. It's going to be quite strong for most of our day, about gusts from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. This could make temperatures feel closer to about -5, -6. So again, we're only warming up to about -1, and we have those winds coming in from the north as well, making it quite cold. And now a reminder, a flood watch has been issued for parts of the province, including here in eastern Ontario. This includes areas in the Rideau Valley Conservation Area, parts of the Mississippi Valley watersheds, as well as the South Nation Conservation Authority. So with the significant rainfall forecasted for tomorrow, this could lead to an additional increase in water levels and flows in parts of eastern Ontario. Now, taking a look at tonight's temperatures across across eastern Ontario, -2, -3 degrees. You can already see by the seaway, slightly warmer, sitting around the freezing mark. -2 really for Kemptville and Montreal. And tomorrow's daytime highs, not much of a difference really for most of eastern Ontario, where temperatures are hovering around the freezing mark. But take note again, Trenton and Kingston, temperatures are closer to 8, 9 degrees, and there is the possibility of some isolated showers or thunderstorms moving in as well. Now, taking a look for here in parts of Montreal and Mont-Tremblant, we could see significant freezing rain as well moving through parts of Quebec. So keeping a very close eye on this for you. Now, this 7-day forecast is brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Centers, celebrating over 80 years in family business. We are likely going to average temperatures around the freezing mark, not just for Wednesday, but moving into Thursday. Temperatures are going to start to cool off more so Friday. -3 is going to be the daytime high. And again, that overnight low going into Friday is going to be -12. So winter is still sticking around, and early radar showing 5 to 10 centimeters of snow for our Friday. Patricia.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, students at Ottawa's Adult High School are nervous and concerned about upcoming changes to how the curriculum will be delivered. The school board is moving students over the age of 21 to a continuing education model starting next fall, but it's not clear exactly how that will work. The Adult High School is on Rochester Street at Gladstone. CTV's Peter Sperling reports.
For Fatima Zarakaji, Ottawa's Adult High School is more than a place to complete a credit.
It's not just a stepping stone, it's a community.
A community that's facing change for some students starting next fall.
By making these changes to Adult High School, they are single-handedly breaking a cornerstone.
According to a document sent to staff shared with CTV News, students over the age of 21 will be moved to a in-person continuing education model. But what that means for day-to-day learning isn't entirely clear.
They don't clearly outline what next year is going to look like.
And that's making students here concerned the new learning model may be less effective than they have now.
Not many details of how that would affect my education in the future and my ability to go to university.
Many students are the immigrants or people trying to rebuild their lives. So if they reduce the program or change it, move it to the online, many students will struggle to graduate.
There might be in-person options, but again, we don't know what that looks like.
The Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation says moving to a continuing education model will impact students and the type of support they'll have access to.
Potentially, yes, because certainly the funding formula by the province does not allow as much funding for students over 21 as for students under 21, and so we believe that's a primary driver for some of the decisions that are being made.
The union also concerned teaching jobs may be lost. CTV News Ottawa reached out to the Ottawa Carleton District School Board, but the board has not responded by deadline.
So come in closer.
As for Kaji, she's using her education here to now attend the University of Ottawa in the fall and hoping others get the same chance.
We all deserve to have a quality education.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
We're in an economic war right now with the U.S. We need every tool we can to create more opportunities.
Still ahead, some major changes could be coming to Toronto's Billy Bishop Airport as the province moves to take it over. Taking a look at the roads on your Tuesday evening, the tail end of the commute proving to be nice and light. No real problem areas on the Queensway right now. Well, there is more turbulence tonight for Billy Bishop Airport in Toronto. The province says it's taking it over. Premier Ford is calling the island airport a crown jewel and says Ontario will expropriate it to allow for an expansion and the introduction of jets. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the details.
The Premier calls it a crown jewel. He laid out a plan to polish up Toronto's Island Airport when the Mayor visited him at home this week.
I was very straightforward with her that we will be taking over the airport.
Not a negotiation, an expropriation of sorts. Ontario will push Toronto out of the three-way deal that governs the airport. The federal government and Toronto Port Authority also have a stake.
We're in an economic war right now with the U.S. We need every tool we can to create more opportunities.
For Doug Ford, that means jets at Billy Bishop, able to reach destinations like Vancouver and the Caribbean without having to go to Pearson.
don't expect a 747 touching down on the island, but Ford can't say where he'd draw the line on size and sound.
We have to consult again. We'll see the noise levels between the jets and the props, but I go back to this is going to be an economic driver. It'll create thousands of jobs.
While the Trudeau government shut down a pitch for jets on the island, yesterday the federal transport minister was non-committal.
I think it's incumbent on all of us, through the lens of this airport being a good neighbor and a good corporate citizen in this city, to look at what the future might hold in terms of its development.
One local MP says this is a nuanced conversation.
The issue isn't jets, frankly. The issue is making the best use possible out of this critically important asset on Toronto's waterfront.
The Premier is envisioning a totally different waterfront.
So wouldn't it be great if they just flew into Ontario? The island airport, got off and had transportation by boat pulling into the convention center, the hotels.
Ford is considering filling in part of Lake Ontario to build a 2 million square foot convention center, putting it within reach of the new Ontario Place.
Enjoying the water slides or the amphitheater at night, or walking through the park.
Critics are dismissing it as more fantasy than plan.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
On tonight's Big Picture, the newest member of the Toronto Zoo is making its public debut. This baby Maasai giraffe made her first public appearance today. She was born late last month, and the zoo is now looking for the perfect name. It's accepting votes online for the next couple of weeks. If you're interested in voting, you can head to the Toronto Zoo's website. Now, some other stories you need to know right now. The Ottawa Carleton District School Board is now going to open registration for junior kindergarten at alternative schools, despite previously saying no new students would be allowed to enter the program. Former trustees approved a plan to phase out the alternative school program last year, and the supervisor who took over the board upheld that decision. Parents were told in December there would be no new kindergarten intakes, but in a letter to parents sent out yesterday, the supervisor said new junior kindergarten students will be accepted into the program this fall. The board has 4 alternative schools. The average cost to rent an apartment in Ottawa increased slightly last month after dropping in January and December. According to a new report from rentals.ca and Urban Nation, the average rent was $2,143 in February. That's up from $2,107 in January. Across Canada, rent prices were down year over year for the 17th straight month. The city can now automatically notify Ottawa residents about possible plumbing leaks. Homeowners with a My Service Ottawa account will be sent an email notification when the system detects uninterrupted water flow over a 7-day period. Previously, notifications were only sent by mail and took several days to arrive. Last year, CTV News Ottawa spoke with a senior who was hit with a $1,500 water bill because of a leak in his basement toilet.
Elias Pettersson takes a run at Pinto. Giroux goes down, makes a play. Zoom with a shot off a body. Here's Ridley Quick. He scores!
Well, Sens have now won 3 straight after shutting out the Canucks last night in Vancouver. The final score 2-0, bringing the Sens closer to a playoff spot within just a few points. That was the final game of the Western road trip. They return home tomorrow night. They will be hosting Montreal.
Honestly, this has been a real nightmare trying to get this car repaired.
Well, just ahead, more insurance companies are writing off vehicles, even with minor damage. But an Ontario woman whose vehicle was damaged in a hit and run is fighting to have it repaired instead. That story just ahead.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Well, vehicles are now loaded with technology designed to make driving safer, but all these advances come at a price. More insurance companies are now writing off vehicles, even if they're involved in only minor accidents. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
Honestly, this has been a real nightmare trying to get this car repaired.
Teresa Baton of Mississauga says she parked her BMW sedan in front of her bank, went in to do some business, and when she came out, it had been sideswiped by another vehicle.
I walked over to my car and I could not believe how much damage was done to the front driver's side fender.
The car is a 2011 BMW 328i with 213,000 kilometers. Despite being a bit older, Baton says she recently spent $10,000 on repairs on the car, and it was in excellent condition. That's why she was shocked to be told by her insurance company it was considered a total loss and would be written off.
The first thing they want to do is write off my car. And I said, no, that's unacceptable.
Baton says she was presented with a settlement offer of $8,900, which she refused. After more than 2 months of negotiations, she's holding firm she wants her car fixed.
If my car was completely damaged and not drivable, then yes, that would make sense. But the car starts and it drives.
The Automotive Industries Association of Canada recently told CTV News cars are being deemed a total loss more often due to expensive parts and delays to get them. Repairs have also increased in price, and so have rental car costs. Safety systems using cameras, radar, and sensors are also expensive to replace.
Total loss is typically just the most economical way to settle the claim. It's just a mathematical decision.
Baton is with TD Insurance. When we reached out to TD, a spokesperson said claims are assessed individually based on the details and terms of the policy. This matter has been resolved after working directly with our client. TD told Baton it would now repair her car instead of writing it off, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV. My car is getting repaired. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. So excited.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
A key player in the AI build-out reported earnings today. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
Oracle is a $430 billion company whose stock has plummeted over the past year. It needed some solid numbers, and it got them. Cloud revenue, key for the company. It came in at almost $9 billion U.S. for the latest quarter. That's up 44% from the same period last year. Investors are also focused on how much it's investing to build its AI infrastructure, since the company is taking on significant debt to do it. Oracle confirmed it's spending $50 billion U.S. for 2026. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down a fraction to 73.64. West Texas Intermediate down to 86.58. Western Canadian Select is up more than $3 to 77.18. And the TSX gained 81 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
It's stunning because it's, as you know, sort of a miracle of a location. You have the clarity and the deepness of the turquoise.
Just ahead, a look at some of these incredible portraits an artist created on Alberta's frozen lakes. An internationally renowned artist recently turned scenic Alberta destinations into his canvas. And although his art has already disappeared, it's left a lasting impression. CTV's Nicole Weisberg has more.
I could barely believe it when I stepped onto the ice. Methane bubbles layered and stacked like frozen breath.
A natural phenomenon in central Alberta made even more eye-catching. For earth artist David Popa, having Abraham Lake as a canvas is a dream.
It's stunning because it's, as you know, sort of a miracle of a location. You have the clarity and the deepness of the turquoise, unbelievable fracturing, cracks, and then, of course, these methane bubbles.
Popa spent 12 days in the Nordegg area mid-January, about a year after he was first contacted by Travel Alberta about partnering.
We're trying to do something different than just imagery, which is mountains and frozen lakes.
Different and difficult. Popa is used to creating art on ice in the Baltic Sea near his home in Finland. With this piece, he says there were moments he wasn't sure he could pull it off.
It was like 0 to 3 degrees, so it was either like windy and then my chalk or charcoal would freeze on the surface, then it would warm up because of the sun.
Popa also attempting a 2-day project in a location where the wind could easily sweep away his entire first day of work. Instead,
to be able to just pull off this piece in a perfect weather window with the sunset, like this can't be happening.
Popa's second piece in the region, in Klein Creek Canyon, lasted just 1 day. He uses only natural materials. Popa returned to Abraham Lake for the third, working from sunrise to sunset at about minus 15 degrees to finish.
These are the kind of adventures I live for.
The golden color between the faces inspired and sourced from a Nordegg pigment artist whose studio Popa visited just a few days prior.
It's not only the place, but it's also the people.
Travel Alberta's Instagram post about Popa's pieces is its top video with over 4 million views, helping accomplish its goal of exposing the province's lesser-known destinations to more of the world. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Well, coming up, a famous dog shreds the waves one final time as she gets set to retire following a cancer diagnosis. More on this beautiful moment just ahead. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Patricia. Just a reminder, we do have a freezing rain warning as well as a rainfall warning in effect for much of eastern Ontario, and this is all expected for our Wednesday. Giving you a closer look, most of this is going to start for freezing rain around 7 a.m. and carry steadily throughout our Wednesday. It's around noon that we're going to start to see more rainfall taking over as temperatures start to warm up, and then by Wednesday evening, the most of eastern Ontario will be drenched in rainfall. So we will take a closer look at this forecast in just a bit, but here's a look at our Centennial Glass sky cam. Lots of daylight still in store for our evening. Dry conditions as well for downtown Ottawa. Current temperature is at 6 degrees.
Far pass, and it's a early shot. He scored!
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Sneha Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Tomorrow on CTV, Your Morning Ottawa, an alarming trend is seeing young men take extreme measures to fix their appearances. We'll tell you more about it. Wake up the right way with Your Morning Ottawa. It all gets started at 6 a.m.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here is what is on CTV tonight. Best Medicine will trend high potential and RJ Decker. Here's a recap of the top stories we are following right now.
In general, we're looking at around 10 to 20 millimeters possibly of accretion, which is quite similar to what occurred back in 2023 in April.
Environment Canada warning of a possible ice storm in Ottawa, Eastern Ontario, and Western Quebec. The city and Hydro Ottawa preparing for freezing rain and icy conditions.
We already have a huge shortage in nurses and doctors and teachers, and if people cannot follow their dreams and go to school to fill these professions, how are we going to fix this?
High school students in Ottawa's East End walking out of class today protesting changes to OSAP.
They should be at least exploring a refund of credits.
And an Ottawa man was out $7,500 after a travel company canceled his trip to Egypt, citing the Middle East war. Did not give him a refund, but after CTV Ottawa contacted the company, they did give him a full travel credit. One final look at this weather. There's a lot coming at us over the next 24 hours.
The storm is on its way, Patricia. Taking a look at tomorrow, this is when we're going to start to see most of that freezing rain start to kick in for at least here in Ottawa. -2 to start things off, but with those wind gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour, it's going to feel closer to about -6, -7. So when all is said and done, we could see between 10 to 20 millimeters of freezing rain. We're only getting to a daytime high of 0. That's going to be similar for Thursday, where the chance of flurries will linger. And yes, Friday, there is the chance we could likely see between 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. And you could already see those temperatures dipping the overnight -12 into Friday, only get to a daytime high as -3. Hopefully, things will improve by next Monday, where temperatures will be hopefully a daytime high of 6 degrees.
All right. all weather it together tomorrow as we want to check in now to see what our news team will be working on tonight. And that is part of it, I'm sure, Steph.
Oh, definitely, Patricia. We will be keeping an eye on the weather conditions and this significant freezing rain event we're being warned about. And some of you may be interested in it because you have plans to see Alan Doyle perform at the NAC tonight. Some of you may have even had an Alan Doyle sighting around downtown Ottawa today. The Canadian musician, best known for being a band member of the Great Big Sea, asked for coffee recommendations in the capital recently. Many of you suggested little victories on Elgin, and he took the advice. He posted this video maybe an hour or so ago. In it, he says Ottawa is one of his favorite cities in which to walk around. And there you can see he made it over to Parliament Hill as well. Get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca. And join us tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
I meant to just hang around outside Little Victories today.
I know.
I meant to.
We should have taken a walk earlier.
Yeah. Maybe get serenaded by Alan Doyle. It'll be a great show, I'm sure, at the NAC at 8 o'clock tonight. And finally for us here this evening, a four-legged legend is getting to ride the waves one last time in California. Sugar, the surfing dog, got on her board for the last time over the weekend after receiving a cancer diagnosis. The 16-year-old former rescue dog went from roaming the streets to becoming a 5-time World Dog Surf champion. Amazing. The first animal ever inducted in the Surfers Hall of Fame.
Nice. It's quite the glow up for our four-legged friend.
Yes, and what a beautiful way to kind of go out of this world, right?
Yeah.
Doing exactly what she obviously loved to do.